Podcast City Network. You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
Welcome to The Everett Lee Show. I'm The Everett Lee. I want to give a quick shout out to everyone who follows me on social media and, of course, Podcast City Network, the official host of The Everett Lee Show. Today on the program, you may have seen him going to ringside with talent such as Logan Blackheart and Harley Fairfax on FGW Shockwave, which you can catch every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on their YouTube channel. I want to welcome to the program today none other than Ripper Blackheart. How you doing there?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself, Everett?
I'm good. Just enjoying this hot weather that I'm having here today in Daytona Beach. That's what I'm enjoying.
Little cool here. My wife went outside for a little bit, sat with the dog. She just come back in. I've been pretty good. I'm good at chilling at the house.
Yeah.
I'm good at just sitting and wasting an entire day watching crap on TV.
I think pretty much everybody is sitting around watching crap on TV. What have you been watching? How have you been occupying your time since this is all like gone to hell?
There's of course the wrestling. I have the network. I've watched all the Stone Cold Bone, Skull Crusher set, whatever they're called. You know, that new one he's got. I sat and watched all those. A ton of Netflix stuff that probably nobody should watch.
Like the Tiger King?
Terminator Salvation was on there the other day, and I was like, nope, can't do it. I don't care what Everett says. Can't do it.
I was wanting to bring that up now. I'm glad you brought that up because you were part of the chat there last week on the live broadcast I had with Harley Fairfax. And I was just shooting the shit with her, and I said, hey, I was sitting there watching Netflix one night, and I saw Terminator Salvation, so I started watching it. And then you just came after me on the chat there.
Oh, it's by far, it's just so boring for a Terminator movie. It's just, I remember going to movies seeing it, and I literally fell asleep at one point. I woke up, is this fucking still on? Are you kidding me? How did I make it to the credits?
Really? What did you not like about it? What did you not like about it?
Just the pacing of it, to me, it's just so Terminator, it's a Terminator movie, I'm expecting a action movie, explosions, firefights, that kind of, but it did remind me of the Terminator comic that was out in the late 80s, might have been early 90s, from defunct NOW comics. And in that, the humans had a Terminator with them that thought he was human and protected them against the rest of the Terminators. So that's kind of what drew me into actually wanting to watch it, because I'd read that comic in my teenage years. I'm like, hey, that story seems very similar. I'll check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty much drawn in by Christian Bale because at that time he was hot. I mean, he was doing Batman. He was doing that right there. He just came off The Dark Knight Rises at that time, which was one of like the top grossing or one of the most popular comic book movies out there at the time, and he was just doing these roles here. One role comes to mind, the movie he did with Mark Wahlberg, the Fighter. I really enjoyed that movie right there. He did with Mark Wahlberg.
If you think he looks like shit in that one, you should see the movie he did before Batman Begins called The Machinist.
Okay.
He literally looks like a skeleton with just skin on top of it.
Really?
Yes.
I've heard of that movie, but I've not checked it out. Can you?
It's not really a great movie. It's kind of like a psychological thriller where they make you think one thing's happening, but really this is happening type thing. If you're into that kind of stuff, cool. A lot of those are hit and miss with me. There's some ones that are really great, and there's some other ones like, I just wasted an hour and a half, 2 hours of my life. So.
Yeah, I hate movies that are like that. You sit there and you watch it, and you feel like you wasted like 2.5 hours. And there's movies where I watched, and the movie's doing really great until the very fucking end. And for example, The Last Exorcism, that movie right there, the found footage shot type style movie, that right there, just towards the end there, when everything was revealed and everything, I got up and I said, this movie sucked. My nephew was watching with me. He said, what do you mean, man? This movie was good. I said, fuck no. I said, this is a piece of shit. I was like, look, and I just started breaking it down there. And I was like, it ruined for me. The end of the movie ruined it for me. Just
everybody, like the Blair Witch craze.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Blair Witch was a terrible piece of shit. I was like, and then I literally had an argument with a girl at my shoot job on whether or not that was a true story. I'm like, no, you idiot. I said, watch it. There is a goddamn corn. You can see the cornfield behind her.
Yeah.
The empty cornfield at one shot. Why would you not just walk to the empty cornfield? At some point, that empty cornfield has to hit a road.
Yeah. Exactly. But for that time that it came out, it made a shitload of money, man. It did. It
was different.
Yeah, it was different at that time.
For that. I think that it was right at the beginning of the whole reality TV boom too. Yeah. So I think that helped it, but I was never impressed with the Blair Witch Project. I'm like, it's so scary. I'm like, this looks like middle schoolers could have made this with one of the big heavy VHS cameras that we have for family videos when I was a kid. Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. Like this was someone's school project. Yeah. Yeah. For one of them art schools or something.
I do believe that the people that did do the film, they did come fresh out of film school, and it was something that they shot with very little money, very little budget. And,
I believe it.
And it's one of those things. The timing of it. If the movie came out like that right now, Ripper, would you go see something like that?
Probably not. Like my tolerance for, like, I used to be able to watch just crap, and every once in a while, there's still a couple of crappy movies. Like I keep watching because can't get any worse. How can this get any worse? And then it gets worse. I'm like, oh my god, stop! I should stop. No. I look, see how much time's left in me. There's only this much time left in the movie. Yeah. I'll go ahead and get out. But like people like these movies that are homage to like the really crappy, campy. I don't like them type of movies, so I really don't like the homage to them either. I mean, there's a few. There's a few. Hobo with a Shotgun. It's Ruckert Howard, so yeah. I grew up on Ruckert Howard, so
oh, nice.
Something like that. I'll still sit down and watch The Last Dragon every once in a while. Last Dragon is a terrible movie, but when I was 13 years old, I thought that was the shit. I thought that was one of the greatest movies ever.
That's
you watch it now, and you're like, God, I was stupid. But I will still sit and watch every second. As a matter of fact, I bought it on DVD a few years ago. Right. It was at Walmart for like $3. I'm like, yeah.
Well, it's like Hollywood. They were going there for a while, remaking movies. We need to remake this, remake that. One thing I was really pissed about, they did not need to remake Spider-Man. That right there just pissed me off because I like Sam Raimi. I love what he did with the Evil Dead, Army of Darkness. I was a fan of that. And him. Well,
I think he killed it with the third one.
Yeah. Well, the Sony.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
It was Sony. It was the studio. Studio wanting him to put all this in it, and he crammed everything in there, and that's why it turned out bad like it did.
And it's the same mistake they made with the original Batman franchise. Yeah. Pick up a comic book, Hollywood. He's not fighting every single member of his rogue gallery in every damn episode, every issue. There's a story arc. There's a villain in the story arc. That's who he's facing. If Hollywood wants to get these superhero movies right and have the longevity, much like the Marvel Universe ones have,
yes,
a great formula to follow is the James Bond movies.
Yeah.
Do you know how long that went on before they rebooted it? The first James Bond movie, I believe, was in the 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
And it was like the early 2000s, maybe even a little bit later, before they rebooted it with Casino Royale.
Yeah.
And every James Bond movie, it starts off in an action sequence.
Mm-hmm.
It reintroduces you to, hey, this is James Bond. He's a badass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the villain comes in. He fights one villain per movie. Now, there may be like lower tier villains that he faces to get to him, but it's not like this team up like Warner Brothers kept doing. They were killing me with these. Batman is my all-time favorite character.
Yeah.
In comics. Always has been. And they were killing me. Oh, and if I ever see Joe Schumacher, I'm going to punch that old bastard right in the face for what he did to Batman. It was terrible. And it's how much shit can we cram into one movie? And they're making the same mistake, I feel, again, with the new DC movies. Like, again, Batman's favorite character, but I was disappointed in Superman versus Batman and very disappointed in Justice League. Justice League is right up there with me, too. Mm-hmm. Out of all the comics I have, I probably have more Justice Leagues than any of them. But it's, again, there was so much not needed in that story. There was no need for Doomsday in that story. That's a whole separate story.
Yeah. Yeah, that right there, how they try to introduce that with Zod's Doomsday. Bullshit. No, he's not, man. He's not. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? No.
I just watched the Birds of Prey one here a couple weeks ago, and again, hated it. I hated it.
Was it? I've heard mixed reactions about that. I heard it was good, and I heard people like, oh, it's terrible.
Again, too much stuff in one movie. They should have either made a Harley Quinn movie or a Birds of Prey movie. Harley Quinn is not any way connected to Birds of Prey in the comics. Suicide Squad, yes, in the later years here recently, she's been in Suicide Squad, but just in some of the casting, and like, I like the girl who plays the Huntress in it and other stuff, but it just felt like she phoned that one in on it because Huntress is pretty badass, too. But like I said, I'm watching, I'm like, it killed me because they did so good with Aquaman. Yeah. And Aquaman, of all people, you would think, oh, this is going to be a turd. What can he do? And then, knocked it out of the park with Wonder Woman before that. And I really Shazam, which I was afraid they was going to screw that up because, DC likes to go dark in their movies.
Zack Snyder. Yep. Yeah. They want to go Zack Snyder.
Shazam just isn't dark. He isn't. Shazam's a fun, it's every kid's fantasy to like be able to turn into a superhero and still be a kid.
Yeah, that's what Shazam is based off of, and when they were doing when I saw the marketing and advertising for it on TV, like we would have Nickelodeon on because my 3-year-old watching SpongeBob and seeing Shazam movies, commercials for the Shazam movie, and I said to my wife, I said they're targeting this more towards kids, and that's kind of what it is because he's a kid who superhero, and it made perfect sense. Why not do that? Why?
If you know the history of Shazam, Captain Marvel, as I know him, because the real Captain Marvel, I don't care what Marvel says, he's the real Captain Marvel. Anyway, originally he wasn't owned by DC Comics. Yeah. He was with Fawcett Comics, I believe, and he rose in popularity so much he surpassed Superman, and DC Comics sued them. Because they claimed he was ripping off Superman. But if you read that story, some of the stuff, and yes, he was their answer to Superman. But if you read old Captain Marvel stories, they are not like a Superman story. They do some far out stuff. Yeah. In the Captain Marvel story, because it looked like it come from the mind of a child. Right. Just how outrageous kind of stuff would happen in a Captain Marvel. I mean, he has a talking tiger with him, for crying out loud, who dresses in suits. Come on. And that's what I liked about Captain Marvel. I like visually, he's more appealing to me than Superman.
Right.
And I always liked Captain Marvel more than Superman or Shazam, we should say. So I was very happy with how they approached that movie and made it the way they made it. I just wish Hollywood bugged me. I'll just pick up the source material, people, and read it. And stop thinking you know better. Stop thinking you know better than something that has lasted 50, 70, 80 years.
Mm-hmm.
And stop thinking you know better. Because it's more and more people, there's more hardcore comic book fans than people think. And I come to realize that more, especially getting in pro wrestling. Oh, there's so many comic book fans in pro wrestling, which is what drew me to pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Because, like I always said, to me, pro wrestling was a living, breathing comic book. You have superheroes. You have supervillains.
Mm-hmm.
You have, sometimes they switch. Magneto led the X-Men for a small time in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
He was a good, Yeah,
a lot of people...
They follow the same trends.
Yeah.
When wrestling was getting like the Attitude Era and, a little darker, raunchier, extreme, so were comics. And you could tell by the characters who were created. The most popular character in the 90s in wrestling was Steve Austin, an anti-hero.
Yeah.
One of the most popular characters in comics at that time was Spawn, an anti-hero.
Yep. Todd McFarlane. That's that's exactly, I agree with you right there. Wrestling in the 80s and the characters were larger than life. And you had these colorful characters. You had the good guys, you had the bad guys, the good fight the bad. And
back then the good guys were white colored.
Yeah.
Logan, yellow and red. The bad guys wore all the darker stuff.
Yeah.
And now everybody wants to be a badass, and I want black and skulls and flames and barbed wire and you and every other guy on the damn indies.
It's popular. I believe I was listening to an interview with Dolph Ziggler when he was trying to find something a fit for him, and that's when he dyed his hair blonde and he wore like the pink and the black because everyone was wearing black, and he did the bright colors just to stand out from everybody else.
And it does. It works.
It does.
Made him stand. He was different.
Mm-hmm.
I have a great idea for Dolph Ziggler. I think they should have had him, because they compare him to Shawn Michaels all the time.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Oh, and I've always said, it'd be great if he started a group and it was called Regeneration X. And good. They did. And all the stuff that Degeneration X did to McMahon and Slaughter and all them guys, they should do Triple H. And now Triple H doesn't find it funny. I think that would be hilarious.
That would be. That would be great. That would be great. Yeah, because the comparisons over the years. I mean, just through his career, Shawn Michaels, and someone like that. I always scratch my head. Why did they not let him have the WWE Championship? I mean, he was world champion, but the WWE Championship, the title of the company, being the face of the company, they never did that. That's one thing I was disappointed about.
I don't know. It could be some things behind the scenes that we don't know about. We get Dolph Ziggler in small bursts. Can he last? Does he have enough in him to carry a title and be the guy that runs storylines with anybody? Because if you got the title, you need to be able to have a match with anybody. You need to be believable in any kind of storyline that they throw to you. Do they feel he has them? A lot of fans do, but they might know something we don't. I'm sure they know a lot of things we don't. Yeah. We don't think they do, but they do. That's why they're doing what they're doing, and we're doing what we're doing. Exactly.
Good point. Exactly. Really, really good point. Since we're talking about promotions, we messaged each other before we started doing this here, and we talked just a little bit, and I asked you what promotions that you've worked for. You've worked for WAR, OCW, and NOW. And those promotions right there, I've heard of War, I've seen stuff on War, and I've heard of NOW, but being in those promotions, what sticks out the most of you, like working for those promotions?
Well, War's the one who got me started into all this. We talked before got on here about Big Tom Williams, and first independent wrestling show I ever went to was a War wrestling show. Lima's like half hour from where I live. And in case you guys are wondering, how do I know Lima, Ohio? That's the home of Al Snow. And a lot of the guys, when I first started working up there, they were all former students of Al's. But so I heard it on the radio advertisement for it. This is right after WCW shut down. I was a WCW guy just because I was an NWA guy before that, and they kind of rolled into that, and that was my brand, so I just stuck with it. Plus, to me, before Monday Night Wars and all the other stuff, they were always grounded in wrestling. Mm-hmm. Their storylines were based on wrestling, rather than, to me, WWF, the wrestling were based off the storylines. So I leaned more towards that. So they're shut down. I hear this. I call up some buddies and say, hey, you want to go check this out? It's close to us. And all the wife said, yeah, we'll go if we can go eat before. So we went out, ate. Doors opened. I think the show started at 7:30 and the doors opened like at 6:30. So we were like, well, we'll go eat. We're right around the corner from where it was happening, UAW Hall, plenty of time. So it's 7:30 when it's 7 o'clock when we get there. We got next to the last row. You walk in the building, here's the building, and it's all the way back, right? All the way back where the ramp is and the speakers for the sound, next to the last row. Only place there were seats.
Damn.
So we sat there for the whole show, and like I said, it's the first time I'd actually went to an independent show. I knew of indie wrestling. I read about it and all this stuff, but I never went to an indie wrestling show. And I bet you there was probably 700 or more people there, or close to it. That for an indie show, I wasn't expecting that, because I saw video of indie shows too. There's
right
20 people in the crowd if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Holy and this was their first show.
Really?
Yeah, first show.
That's amazing.
So we went to it. We enjoyed it. We, being fans, yelled, interacted, all that stuff. And the thing War Wrestling does is he makes up these free little programs, and they're free. Right? It's the little program, and it's got a spot for kids to go get autographs. He sends out the baby faces during intermission, and all the man signed. They get their autograph, but it had contact information. So I called him, and first I emailed him. I emailed him, said at that time I was doing my own comic book, and between me and my brother, we knew a whole bunch of bands. I've told this story a lot of times, but so I contacted him and said if he needed anything like in that kind of realm, get a hold of me, I'd be happy to help. I was like what I saw. I got a message back said, we need to have a talk. Here's my number. Call me tomorrow this time. First time, never met him, never talked to him day in my life. That email exchange is all we had.
Really?
3-hour phone call.
Wow.
3 hours.
3 hours.
Just talking about that the first show and wrestling in general and what he does, what he puts into a show and all that type of stuff. So I think it was second or third show in, his business partner's leaving.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And they haven't paid what they're supposed to pay for the show that they just put on, which was the advertising on TV and radio. Now, by this time, after the first show, I'm selling tickets for him. I'm setting up, me and everybody's helping him set up, tear down, putting up posters, working gimmick tables, whatever they need us to do. And if you don't need us to do anything, we're sitting and enjoying the show, watching the show. We're setting up, I think it was the third show, and, some kind of argument happened. He points to me and my buddy setting up, and he goes, "If you guys want to go, go." He goes, "Them two guys will take your place happily." We think, he's just talking shit to him, we're like,
Yeah.
But they did. They left. He calls me. He says, "Hey, remember what I said to them guys? They're gone." He's like, "If you want to take their spot and being a partner, and if you know anybody, your buddy, and if you know anybody else," so me, my buddy, and two other friends, for a time there, was us and Tom were partners in War Wrestling.
Wow.
He did all the booking. Well, we got together. Booking was by committee. He's like, "Here's the talent I have booked." And then we decided what matches, storylines, and we would go to one person's house or another, and this was hours of doing this, putting together the show. Okay, now we got the show together. Okay, now he's getting posters made up. He's calling the radio, getting radio spots, calling TV, getting TV spots. We're paying for radio, TV. He's paying for everything else.
Right.
So that went on for years. So that, and I don't know if it was quite a full year, probably a full year. I did it. I ran camera. Gopher. I had to take guys to the hospital emergency room if something happened.
Damn.
I did whatever was asked.
Right.
And then a lot of times I sat in the gorilla position with Tom. We had a monitor and watching it on there, and I, to myself, just be commentating to myself.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, Dusty Dillinger, he paid for us to be on TV in the area, and he was going to be doing commentating and need somebody with him. And the guy they normally use, he was a radio DJ affiliated with him, but he had a job someplace else. He was moving.
Right.
So Tom's like, "Why don't you use Ripper?" so for like a year and a half, 2 years, Sunday mornings on a UPN. That tells you how old a UPN.
Yeah, I remember UPN.
we were on Sunday mornings, and it was me and Dusty Dillinger hosting All Out War. So, and then Steve Stone was heel there for a while. He turned babyface. And I was doing a little like Piper's Pit type thing, interview segment there. They'd moved me into that role.
Right.
And they was like, "Well, we're going to have you interview Steve." And I told Steve, I said, "Well, this is what they want me to do. I'm going to ask you a question, and every time you go to answer, they want me to turn and then start talking again." He's like, "All right." He goes, "How about the third time you do that, I just clothesline shit out of you." Now, I'm not trained.
Yeah.
At all.
You haven't taken a bump yet at this time, right? Yeah, you haven't.
Still not really trained today.
Damn. What'd you say?
I have looked into this. Nobody is going to get into professional wrestling the way I did with the quality of places that I worked the way I did.
Right.
What I've done in professional is a total fluke. I will be the first to admit it. There is no way in hell anybody else is going to be able to do what I've done and work with the people I've worked with the way I got into this. So that's it. I tell him I'm not trained, dude. I don't. He's like, "Oh, don't be a fucking diva." Blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm not worried about looking like shit. I'm worried about me making you look like shit.
Right.
So Big Tom, I was like, "Tom, he wants me," and Tom's like, "Okay, here's what you do." That's my Big Tom impersonation. Tuck your chin, throw yourself back, throw your hips up in the air like you're grudge fucking somebody.
Now, let me before you say, how was it taking that first bump? I gotta know.
It was all right. I've only had one really bad bump the entire time, and mostly the only bumps that I take a back bump, or I've taken the super kick, or kick the side of the head, choke slam. I've been bronco bustered by a midget.
Damn.
I get a lot of getting hit off the ring apron and doing the whole deal. But that wasn't bad. The only time I ever got, and it was against Steve again. It was my fault.
Yeah.
I turned around and he was closer than I was closer to him than I should have been.
Right.
So when he hits me, instead of falling flat back, I fall to one side.
Ah, damn.
Yeah. So and my shoulder still kind of. It even swelled up the next day. My wife was freaking out. She's like, "Ah, it's fine." But to this day, I'm like, if I'm at my shoot job, I drive forklift. I'll sit there and I can just feel it tightening up my shoulder.
So this day still.
Yeah. So I have to stop and I have to go like this, and you just hear click, 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 click. I gotta keep doing that until it stops clicking.
Damn.
And then I'm all right. That's the only bad bump I had. Steve Stone, and from then on out, I was a major heel. Steve Stone turned me into a major heel, and Tom Williams has taken full advantage of that. Like, I have been involved in a lot of major storylines up in war. I mean, I am basically the Lex Luthor of war.
That's a good way to put it, man.
Yeah. And that is all due to how Tom Williams has booked me.
Right.
And since he's booked me that way, other promotions has brought me in and has booked me that way. Like I said, war. I consider war my home. I consider all them places right there. I've worked for other places sporadically, and some places that I did work regularly have shut down since then, like over in Indiana and some other places. But those four right there, those are basically home. Those are just other homes for me. But it started with War Wrestling in Lima, with Tom Williams, Dusty Dillinger, Dexter Dementia, Steve Stone. Like I said, Steve Stone didn't have to work with me. He knew what I was. He knew I was. How many shows before that I was sitting in the crowd? Yeah. He didn't bitch. He didn't complain. He's like, this is what I got to work with. This is what we're doing. And that went on for several months. It went to the point where I was bringing guys in to kick Steve Stone's ass.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
To the point where it came down to the first time I got my hair cut. I've had two hair things, and he did it the first time. And then that I was getting booked every once in a while when Jeff Kanan was running OCW. Because OCW and War use a lot of the same talent. They do a lot. They feed off each other. They feed off each other, or had for very, very long. They were almost like brother and sisters companies to one another.
Yeah.
Ran by two different guys, two totally different styles too, mind you. But both very successful and very respectful to one another. So every once in a while I would get to work there. And then once Jeff Kanan sold it to who owns it now, Sherman Tank was running stuff. And Sherman Tank originally brought me and the commentator for War in just to commentate.
Right.
And then that led to somehow me starting to manage there. And then now Jimmy Shane does the booking, and he's just kept me there managing. And he usually sticks me like I had. Right now I'm with Grant Andrews, and he was one of the first classes that Tank did. And he's, out of all of them, probably need the most help.
Yeah. As
far as getting over and trying to do his gimmick. So, I've been with him, like I said, and Jimmy, I can't say enough good things about Jimmy Shane. He's a guy that just, you book him, he does what you want him to do.
Yeah. That's good.
We had him for years. He was the comedy act for us for years. Never once bitched about it. Never said, hey, I'd like to be taken a more serious direction. Hey, I want to do this and that. The reason he's going in a more serious direction now up in Lima, I pushed for it.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't him. He didn't come to me and say, hey, can we start doing this? No, I just saw what he was doing every place else. We've kind of played this out with him. Maybe we shift him and, we need a comedy act. We can bring somebody else in to do the comedy stuff. Because before him, it was Mr. Main Event.
Okay.
Another guy I learned Mr. Main Event would do the atomic wedgie spot. And then one night, me and him are in, was it Converse, Indiana, for EWF back in the day, Jason Maples. And he's like, oh, what can we do? I was like, hey, you got candy bar? He's like, why? I was like, you can get candy bar and let it get warm a little bit, and we'll rub a brown streak. So then when they pull up, which I totally stole from WWF, Pat Patterson, they did it to Pat Patterson.
Yeah.
They made it like there was he had a sharded his underwear, and
yeah.
So we did that, man. He, of course, it was, I bet you there was maybe 5 people in the crowd, but them 5 people thought it was funny as hell. But yeah, he's another one. Mr. Main Event and his brothers, Gary Dawson and Elvis Elliott, them guys, they're great. They team up together every once in a while. Their real last name's Shell. So they team up as the Bombshells.
The Bombshells. That's creative, man. It works, right?
Yeah. So OCW, they have a lot of young talent right now, which is different from War is busting at the seams for talent. And it's a lot of good guys that, I mean, I could do probably 12 million other podcasts of how many guys that I've worked with that aren't on national television that should be on national television that's just as good as this guy, that guy, or this guy.
Right.
I'm very fortunate that I get to work with talent that I get to work with. So OCW is it's a little bit different than the War Locker Room, and I love it just as much as the War Locker Room. And then FGW, I mean, we're within a year, just did a year here in February.
Yeah. Also,
a lot of young talent. Also, a lot of people I can make believe that I actually know what I'm talking about there. So,
now speaking of war wrestling, I looked up some stuff on you there. I pulled up YouTube, and I pulled up a promo that you did on. It was for War Wrestling. It was right before the Last Man Standing match with Chris Hall versus Sherman Tank, and I pulled up the promo you did with Ray McGuff, and that I was laughing my ass off on that, man. I was
the guys at Zombie TV mess with him every opportunity they can. You think that's bad? You should find it where they threw him to Jock Sampson. I thought that poor guy was going to shit his pants.
I was laughing at that, man, because when you started it, you said you went along the line something about it's like, don't you know who I am? I'm Ripper Blackheart, and then someone said, look, it's Ripper Blackheart. I just was like, this is great, man. Just how you cut into him, and he's like, where'd they get this guy? Look at you. You said, look at the
one guy, Aaron. Aaron is a huge wrestling fan. He still comes to the shows there in Lima, and shout out to Zombie TV. They're on Facebook and YouTube. I think YouTube, but they're on Facebook. They're into horror and stuff like that. But they've done stuff with us periodically,
right.
through the years. And Ray's not a big wrestling fan, so of course Aaron thought it would be funny if he had Ray interview these wrestlers.
And were you the first person that he had to interview?
Oh no, there was a whole line of us.
Okay.
And all of us just fucking with this guy.
He made him think twice about probably a second thought about wrestling being like right there. Right?
I think I was on something with Zombie TV after that, and I asked him if Ray McGuff was a Make-A-Wish kid, if that was the reason he got to interview us or something.
Damn. But when I watched that there, and you mentioned about your former employer or employee that you had there at the time, Sherman Tank, having that match, Last Man Standing match against Chris Hall. And if Sherman Tank won, he got 5 minutes in the ring with you. So
I was just talking about this with Dave, how me and him were going over some stuff. David Barnum Spector. Spoiler alert: we actually talked to each other. but I was just telling him, you know, I've had my fair share of this guy or that guy gets 5 minutes alone in the ring with Ripper, because again, that's how Tom Williams has booked me. He's gotten me to where people just want to see me get the shit kicked out of me.
Right.
I've had 5 minutes alone, and the very next year I was 5 minutes alone in with Chris.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up now. And just
that,
see.
I believe was at, was it War 11?
War 11 was the last man right there with Chris Hall versus Sherman Tank. That's War 11 right there.
Okay, it's one of them at the halls. It's an anniversary show, so it was after 11, so it probably had to be War 12.
Okay.
So War 12, and then just not this year, but last year at the anniversary show, Matt Taylor got 5 minutes alone with me in a cage.
Oh, damn. You're giving me some stuff to look up, man.
and the Matt Taylor thing, that was 3 years build up.
Okay.
He was supposed to have gotten that the year before, and that was when the creation of my super stable Corruption showed up and saved my ass. And
yeah, I wanna talk about that here in a moment there, right there, because I looked something up on that though. But the last man standing, I watched the match, and you on commentary it was funny. You just sitting there, just the stuff that you were saying back and forth with the commentary team there. But the match itself, Ripper, was pretty damn good for a last man standing match. I enjoyed it. It started out really good. I mean, you got a broken table in the play. You got Chris choking Tank, you know, around with the towel around his throat against the pole there, and then a ladder gets thrown involved, and then the action moves inside the ring, and it was just basically these guys just beating the shit out of each other, each other down. Chris trying to pick up fucking Tank. I was like, holy shit! I'm like, no way, trying to get his ass up on him, man. I was like, damn, and he tried it a couple times, and until when Jeff Holloway came in, and then he interfered, and then the cuffs that came into play, and when Tank got Chris cuffed there, when he couldn't get up, and the refs counting when he broke it, I didn't expect that. I figured, okay, he's got this. As soon as he broke out and he took off running towards Tank, and that chair is like, bam, just knocked the shit out of him, and then that was it. But then he got his 5 minutes alone.
Oh yeah. We did a great build up to that.
Yeah. The crowd was into it, man. The crowd was into it.
Hall and Tank were known as Bad Company. And right before that, they were the longest reigning War Tag Team Champions.
Damn. And they were tag team champions.
Right before that, they'd broken up. Tank wanted to go. He was tired of scaring little kids, and he was tired of making kids cry and all this stuff,
right.
And we played that into the storyline, but we kept it where he was still under he said he's quitting Bad Company. Well, he's still under contract with me,
right?
So I'm booking him in matches. I control I control who he's wrestling. So all these heels that owe me a favor or I pay off, to beat his ass, and I'm just making his life hell. And Hall's talking shit to him the whole time, telling him, I carried you and all this stuff, and and we just build it and build it and build it. Then I cheat. I come out during Tank's matches, and whoever he's wrestling, I was coming out with him. Although although contractual wise, that's my guy.
Yeah.
It's like to teach him a lesson.
But you took that chair shot, man. to the back, I cringed, man, because it's just the sound of steel against bone. Just, oh God, I cringe every time I hear a chair shot, man. It's just like when I saw AEW here in Daytona Beach for Fighter Fest, and that's when Sean Spears took that chair to Cody's head, dude. I was way up, almost nosebleeds, and I can hear that go across in the arena there. It just echoed, man. It was loud as shit. I'm like, oh God, damn, just that sound of the damn chair, man.
Oh, and as soon as we went through the curtain, Tank was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," because he put the chair on top of me. He sat on top of the chair, He just and. I mean, I didn't have to go all the way. Like, as soon as I went through the curtain, he was right there.
Yeah.
Oh, so the thing is, half the stuff he didn't make contact.
Yeah. But
because he's good he's done it. He knows how to, but he thought there was, like, the things that he thought he made contact with, he didn't.
Yeah.
I said, the only thing that hurts when your fat ass sat on top of me. Which as you see Tank now, he's just, I bet you he's lost. So he's lost a lot of weight. Like, I tell him now, he's no longer, he's an SUV.
He was pretty damn good. I enjoyed that match. I enjoyed him. That was actually like the first really time I've actually seen both of the people in that match, that last man standing match. I've seen him in the ring wrestle, and you check out War, you'll see a lot of them in it on YouTube. I know OCW has some stuff out there on YouTube. It may be a little bit harder to find. Mm-hmm. One thing that was hard for me to find was I'd pull up a promo of you, and then I'd go look for a match with that promo to see what interaction and what you would do around the ring in there, because I was approaching it that way. So I pulled up a promo with it was, I can't read my own writing here. It was a promo for Rumble and Rockford. It was a promo for that.
Oh.
Yeah, and I couldn't find the match. I could not find the match, but the way you cut the promo, you were pretty damn serious in it. You almost reminded me of, like, really calm and collective, and you were cutting it on Big Tom there about the Rumble and Rockford match there, and you just calm and collective of it, and then you kind of raised your voice just a little bit, but you weren't, full on promo. And it reminded me of Jake Roberts.
Oh yeah, because that's totally where I get the.
Yeah.
Comes to promo wise, I look to guys like Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman. Jake Roberts, Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson, all-time favorite wrestler.
Yes.
Because what gets me with Arn Anderson is everybody gives Ric Flair a lot of credit for certain sayings the Horseman did, but it wasn't Ric Flair that said him first. Arn Anderson did.
Arn did.
Watch the Arn Anderson promo. He's not always excited, but when he is excited in a promo, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
He's not yelling just to yell. Same way with and Jake Roberts, he's in your mind.
Yeah.
And when I do promos, it's depending on what it's, it all depends on what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
I do goofy stuff.
Yeah.
You can't be a clown all the time. I can't. Certain things that happen in storylines, you can't continue to be the clown. At some point, even the clown's got to be like, "Oh, fuck this."
Right.
You want to. I'm supposed to be like the most despicable guy on the planet, so I have to draw into that. What kind of guy do I just want to punch in the goddamn face? And that's a lot of what Ripper is. I take shit that annoys me and type of people that annoy me, and that's how I came up with the original Ripper. Like the ugly shirts that I wear, that all came from, I don't like them shirts. I think them shirts are hideous. But when I first started doing this, that was people were wearing them out and thinking, oh, that's how they went to the club.
Yeah.
I look good. You look like a douche. Dude.
But
And then I'd wear my hair back every once in a while, doing certain things. And I'm like,
right.
you know what's even douchier? If I wore my hair in a ponytail and that shirt. That's what the original Ripper was, just set out to just be just a douchiest douchebag. Like the guy in the bar, you just want to, God, I hope someone punches that guy tonight. And over the years, it's morphed. Like I hate my shoot job. I don't hate the people at my shoot job, but I hate my shoot job.
Yeah.
And so I draw a lot of inspiration from that too. It's like, I'm the type of guy that, okay, I've done my shoot job almost half my life.
Right.
And we've had a lot of management come in and out through the years, and every time there's a new guy.
Yeah.
And every time that new guy's trying to tell me how to do my job, who's never done my job a day in my life.
Oh, so I hate those.
That's kind of where Ripper, that's another element of Ripper.
Yeah.
I'm the guy telling my clients, hey, you should be doing, that's how we get some of my clients to turn. When we want to make them the baby face, and I start being, hey, you're doing this all wrong. I've never wrestled a guy in my life, but I'm going to tell you how to do it.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I've had a job in the past that I worked for a long time at, and therefore within a couple of years I had about 2 or 3 people that changed out, that came and went in that position above me. And 2 of the guys, oh, you got to do it like this, do it like that. It's like, well, you know what? I've been doing it like this. I've been getting the job done. So leave me the fuck alone and go after that guy over there taking an hour, 15-minute break.
Most of the people that's done that in the past, I'm still with the company. They're not.
Yeah.
That's what I whenever somebody says, oh, this guy, he's going, I was here before they were here. I'll bet you I'm here when they're gone.
Yeah.
So far, that's been the case.
Yeah, that's good that you can take something like that in real life and draw it into what you do in professional wrestling. I love that.
Yeah, I mentioned the name Dexter Dementia before. He also wrestled with me under Mr. Old School. He tells everybody all the time that Ripper Blackheart and another friend of ours, Dusty Dillinger, who I got to induct in the Hall of Fame this last show.
Nice.
At War Wrestling. We are not gimmicks. We are basically, that's our personality turned all the way up, because the sarcastic, smart-ass asshole that you see here on commentating and see in promos, that's me. If you're my friend, I'm busting your balls 24/7. I'll bust your balls. Talking to you, riding with you, Facebook post, busting your balls. If I'm not busting your balls, I probably don't give a shit about you.
Good point. And I experienced that last week there. I'm going to be laughing about that every time I see you there about Terminator. And something about Terminator I want to mention here in a little while here. But you mentioned Dusty Dillinger. I watched the Slam for Scarlet match with Corruption, Dusty Dillinger, and Cody Hawk going up against super tough dudes. And
EDs.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, Ripper, right there. The match, I loved the tag team wrestling in this. I loved how the reaction you guys got when you were out there, and just how Cody and Dusty. When I watch tag team wrestling, I love the fact that when you got a team, you cut the damn ring off. I love that. When you cut the damn ring off, you keep them over there, and you just pound them. I love how Dusty kept taking the ref, walking off. There's Cody, beat him up. Hey, Dusty! You come back, and the ref's like, stop. And then just on and on like that. And that funny part where Dusty actually grabbed Cody's arm, and you're out there, and you're walking around with the camera. You're like, hey, Facebook Live. And
before I went out, Cody's like, hey, Ripper, you want Facebook Live this? Okay.
It was great. Your interaction with the fans that was around ringside there, that was great. And you kept on telling one of the guys, I don't know which guy it was, if it was Pat or Storm, you told him, you said, put that shirt back on. No one wants to see that.
The story behind that, Storm got hurt and was gone for a little bit. Before he left, he was like shredded.
Right.
Like shredded. Abs and all. Well, he was still, you saw him, he was still phenomenal looking shape.
Which one was Storm now?
The dark-haired one.
Oh, okay. The guy. All right, dark hair. Okay.
But he didn't. His abs weren't all defined now. So he was boo-hooing in the locker room before that. Not even been a show before that we had before that, and he was on.
Yeah.
So when we're out there, I was messing with him the whole time. I was like, Storm, look so fat. Storm, you should probably put a shirt on. You know, and he goes, you almost legit made me cry, man. I did that dude anytime I had any interaction with Storm after he came back that time, and I was heel, he was face. I was like, I would say shit to him like that all the time, like, ugh. Would you eat like 5 Twinkies before you came out, Storm? What's the matter with you?
Damn, good stuff. But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that match. I liked Dirty Tactics. I loved you outside the ring there. I loved Dusty and Cody's work in the ring there, and super tough dudes. I thought those guys are great. And
I love the fact that I got to manage Dusty and Cody.
Yeah.
Because they're so seasoned. They don't need me. There's no way. They didn't need me for anything. But they's like, well, here's an extra tool we can use.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you talk about tag team wrestling. That's because they've been doing it so long. They've worked for everybody.
Yes.
They've worked WWE. They worked WCW. They worked ECW. They worked Ring of Honor. They know. They have that knowledge. And all that does is give me a rub.
Yeah.
Some across that, they've heard of Dusty Dillinger. They've heard of Cody Hogan. Like, who's this idiot they got? Who's that guy? Oh, hey, he's mildly entertaining. Maybe we'll see him in some other stuff. And just the fact that the stuff that they've had me do with them over the years and got to do, and like I said, when Dusty took over Lima for a little bit, Tom fell ill, and Dusty took over, and Dusty didn't have to keep me on. I was no longer paying bills and stuff at that point.
Yeah.
But he kept me on, and he's the one that said, you know, Dexter wanted to do the Mr. Old School gimmick and wanted me to be with him, and he was like, yeah, we can do that. And then Cody was the actual first promoter to come to me and ask me to come work for them rather than going through Tom and getting me places, or going through Dusty or somebody else being booked someplace else. Say, hey, I got a manager. Can I bring him along? He came to me and said, hey, I like this character. I want to bring him down what I'm doing now. And when that promotion, they split ways. Not that they would care to have me around anyway, but Cody was done with him. I was done with him. Cody brought me to the dance. Cody's gone. I'm gone.
Yeah.
That's what, and that's like it. With a lot of guys like Big Tom and Lima, you know, some things he does isn't popular. People get on him and whatnot, but you know, if he needs me to do something, I'm going to do something. I wouldn't even be in wrestling without him.
Right.
Same way with the OCW crew. You know, they need me to do something. You know, managers don't get a lot of work nowadays.
Yeah, I agree with you right there.
That's an added expense that a lot of places, you know, feel that they don't need to spend right now. And same way with New Ohio Wrestling. Donnie just saw what I was doing every place else. Donnie Hoover and Terry Hoover.
Yeah.
They just saw what I was doing every place else and thought, you know, this could be something. And I'm very thankful then. I always have fun there too. Donnie's another one who books me as an evil genius, and he gives me so much that I'm grateful that all these guys give me so much to do and whatnot. And Cody, like right now, Cody needed a break from booking.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to do the book. I was like, you know, I have experience in booking.
Right.
So that wasn't really the hard part, but he's like, hey, do you want to be in charge of the YouTube show too? And I hadn't done for technically TV.
Yeah.
Whole new venture. But, you know, Cody needs a break.
Yeah.
And
you get burnt out.
Yeah, not only, I mean, and he trusts me, everybody to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, you know, and he's my son's trainer, and I tell him all the time is without him and Super Zeta and what was CWAI at the time and now FGW, pretty much saved my son's life.
Right.
So, you know, Cody Hawk wants me to go rob a bank. I got the car ready. Let's go.
Wow, that's bold. That's pretty damn bold. Don't give Cody any ideas, man. We need him at FGW.
Hey, I delivered pizza all through high school. I'll get us out of there.
Now, speaking of FGW, watching Future Great Wrestling. I went back on it since I've gotten furloughed here in the last few weeks. I decided to go back and actually sit down and actually watch it, because it's kind of hard for me at times to sit down and watch a wrestling program when I'm doing my own show and being one of the co-owners of a podcast network with a lot of shows. So
you don't have to tell me, man. The only WWE stuff I watch is when a pay-per-view comes around, and I think AEW, as far as all of them, is the only thing I watch regularly just because it's new. And I want to see what they're going to do. Yeah,
pretty much.
Just
same
the
here.
indie stuff that I'm involved with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much, man. I've not watched Raw or SmackDown in 2 months. It's just, I just lost interest in it. I've just lost interest in what they do with the product. Now, pay-per-views, I mean, I think the last time I watched WWE was WrestleMania. I watched that. That was the last thing I watched. I didn't watch Raw after Mania or SmackDown because it fell off for me. And so with all this time, getting time in between doing everything that I do with the network and running my own show, I decided to sit down and it was like, I need wrestling. I need fucking wrestling, man, because I gotta have something. I'm itching for it. So I went on there and I was like, who am I subscribed to on YouTube? I looked and the first thing popped up at the damn top, Future Great Wrestling. I said, all right. I go on and I'm looking at all the stuff and I said, you know what? I'm going to start this from the beginning and watch it and see what progresses. And I'll tell you, Ripper, after the third episode, after episode 3, when things started really rolling with William Wolf becoming Billy and Darkness Worldwide, what they were doing, and the Bold and the Beautiful feuding with Heavy Metal Hooks, and just the thing about Cody and Amos, and then that story with Shauna coming back, which I didn't expect. That was a big damn twist. I'm going to talk more about the Darkness Worldwide twist with Shauna later this week on Thursday when I'll be talking to her live. But that story right there, that was intriguing and interesting, how that was a big twist there. And then just how Darkness Worldwide just fell apart, and there was like everyone's kind of like scattered there. I mean, you got Harley, Fairfax, great in-ring talent. I've watched her stuff she did back in promotion down there.
Harley is a legit badass.
Mm-hmm. And your son, Logan Blackheart. I've enjoyed what I've seen on FGW there. But one thing, what was with the talent standing out, I love the talent and the production. I've talked about that with yesterday with Jay West. I talked about that with him when I had him on, and the one thing I did mention on there was you probably heard the episode today that the commentary, it was episode 16 with you doing commentary, man. I choked on my drink, dude. Seriously, I choked on my drink when you made that comment about Jay West looking like he stepped off a JCPenney catalog. And you said...
He looked like JCPenney's. Like you could go JCPenney store and get the Jay West model of Terminator. Because he looked like a JCPenney model, but he was moving all robotic. It's
a congregation.
And he didn't break.
Yeah.
Kudos to Jay West. His facial expression, he didn't break that entire match.
Nope, he didn't.
Jay West, I noticed Jay didn't tell you the story about the first time we had an interaction.
What, between you and him? He told me off camera when we got done last night. We talked a little bit there for another hour or so. And he did share a story with you that I'll bring up. I don't know what. Tell me about the interaction here. I'm interested.
It was the first event we were doing for CWAI, I believe. We were doing a little outdoor thing.
Uh-huh.
And I was just there. Logan was reffing at the time.
Right.
And, Logan was still 16, 17. So I'm his ride. He hadn't gotten his license yet.
Okay.
And I'm just there. I went to every training that he was in. I took him back and forth, and I sat in there, and then sometimes Cody's like, well, since you're here, you want to take so in the back and do some promo work with him. So I was kind of helping out and stuff like that. And Cody, I said, Cody, you want me to do anything? He goes, you got your stuff? I'm first rule. You always bring your shit.
Yeah.
Regardless. I said, yeah, I got it. He's like, when you're here, I'll probably use you. He goes, you want me? He was wrestling Simon Dean. Cody was.
Okay.
I could see if maybe Simon Dean wants you to come out with him or whatnot. And one of the guys who trained with Logan's name was Douglas Andrews. The guy can talk, but he's scared shitless to do promos. He's nervous. He's always nervous. But when he does a promo, it is great.
Right.
Right. This is like his first match. It's against Jay West. And he is just, you can see his heart's about right beat out of his chest. Right. I'm like, why don't I go with Doug? Maybe that'll calm him down some. Because, yeah, that's a great idea. Go out there, you be Doug's manager. And we did that for almost the entire run. There towards the end, I think he turned face, yeah. Towards the end, but that was him. He was like, we did a first in the warehouse show, and he was worried about, his family was there. He was like, I'm afraid we're heels.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid my family's going to cheer. It's going to mess stuff up. So I'll handle that. So we come out there. Slick Rick, I always interrupt Slick Rick. It's a thing me and him do. Every once in a while I let him do it, but he always comes if he sees me on the car, he goes, am I introducing your guy, or are we doing our shtick like we always do? I'm like, well, with Douglas, I'll always cut you off and do it. He's like, all right. So I do the whole spiel, and I'm like, hailing from the city of champions. Now, we're in Cincinnati, mind you. Hamilton, bitch. Hailing from the city of champions, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Ooh! I'm a huge Pittsburgh fan, Steelers fan anyway. I let that be known as both myself and Ripper. I let everybody know that I'm a huge Pittsburgh mark.
Yeah.
Instant boo as soon as I said, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Called it the City of Champions, and he's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then I gave him a tagline. He's Douglas Andrews. You know what that means? And then I'd have Doug say, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
He made him feel that. First I said it all the time. That means he's better than you. And then I'm like, okay, we're to a point now. I'm going to say it, and then you're going to come in and say, I'm better than you. And then I let him do a little bit more, because he's good. He's good at a promo.
Yeah.
But he he's so nervous and nerve-wracking. There's a lot of guys like that. So, like, that's one of the things I like to do. I shouldn't be with them their entire career. That's just, to me, a manager's a tool.
Yeah.
It's to help you get over, if you can't cut a promo, that's the guy's cutting promos for you until you learn to cut a promo. He's something you can use in a match. Say there's something you want to do in a match, and I'm something you can use all the time. Same way with a storyline, like, has said War, he plugs me into so much stuff up there, but that's what I am. I'm a tool to help get the storyline over. So That's what I was with Doug.
Okay.
And I don't even remember what we were talking about now.
About his promos there. He was he could you were his mouthpiece basically when it came to cutting promos. Yeah.
Yes, and like I said, he'd cut some before, and he was. I never saw a problem with him, but he was nervous about it. The same way as Shea Solo. Shea Solo will say, "Here's my first draft," when he starts starting ball. I said, "Okay, that's good." Or if I had any notes, I'd give him a notes, and then he'd repeat it, and I'd be like, "Okay, that." But then he'd get in his head, and he'd add this or cut that, and I'm like, "Dude, well, you had it. Why you just say what you said? Say what you said the first time. That was good." Yeah. But they would get, I could do better, or, young, dumb, and, yeah.
Yeah. But your commentary on FGW, I've enjoyed it when I'd watch it there, when you'd sit in on commentary there. I enjoyed the stuff that you'd say. I was just laughing, just the things that you would say. I don't know where you pull it out at though, but you'd pull this stuff out there. You said Shauna Reed was more nuttier than a jar of nutty peanut butter, just stuff like that. Just,
I mean, and some stuff. It's my grandmother called it wit.
Yeah.
My grandma Grant, because we always get claimed the Grants. My family, bunch of smart asses. My grandma Grant, that's wit.
Yeah.
We're not smart asses, we're witty. But that's just the way I was raised. Like I said, busting balls, finding little things to poke at you. That's all we do to each other. My friends are the same way. And a lot of my friends, I tell them, my wife's writing on the board that I'm not funny. I'm hilarious here. Everett just said I was, so he's a podcaster. He would know. But yeah, it's just, and then some stuff I steal. I hear something, I'm like, that's good. I'm gonna put that in somewhere.
Yeah.
And it depends where I'm at, and the whole commentating thing again. That's Big Tom, Dusty Dillinger got me into that. And other places I've gotten able to do it other places just to come in and just do that.
Right.
Just be based off what Tom and Dusty done. Like I said, OCW originally brought me in for that. I did it a couple times. I don't think it was ever released for CWAI. I just did that, the charity show. Can't remember. It was Operation Slamta or something like that there in the Cincinnati area. Tons of other places. Originally, I was supposed to be the guy doing commentating for FGW, but JC got hurt. And, I had JC do commentating with me before up in War when we were short a guy, but he did the play-by-play.
Okay.
And I'm like, we should find something for JC to do. He can't wrestle all the time anymore.
Yeah.
He would be a great color guy. Plus, you got me managing anyway. That was the problem up in War. I was a color commentating, but I always seemed like I didn't just manage one guy.
Right.
For a lot of time. I was in charge of a lot of different stables. At one point, I had a stable and then a separate tag team besides the stable. There was one show I was out there 5 times.
Damn. You're pulling some Jimmy Hart stuff there, aren't you?
I'm like, people have got to be sick. And I felt like crap that night. I said, I told Tom before it started, I said, I don't know what's going on, but I'm feeling like crap. And at the end of the night, I think it was Jake something, he was the champ at the time, He was taking on Zach Spades.
Uh-huh.
Zach Spades' thing is he spears people.
Right.
And at the end of the night, he was going to spear me. My stomach, I'm like, dude, I don't know about this spear. I may end up throwing up.
Uh-huh.
He's like, well, just let me know before we go out there. And, so I'm like, screw it. He's like, what are we doing? I said, just spear me. But I loosened up the back of my shoes. So when he speared me, it looked like he speared me on my shoes.
Oh, nice.
And then I rolled out of the ring and I felt it. And I'm like, oh, here it comes. I'm going to throw up. And I'm like, I'm going to try to get in the back. And I get up. I'm like, oh, here it comes. And it was just this really... And referee P.G. Rodriguez can tell you that if I get this thing where I get like gas buildup in my chest. And it makes me feel like I'm going to throw up, but I let out these long, like from the depths of hell, belches.
Damn.
That's what happened there.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, okay, cool. Then I'm going up the ramp, and I feel like I'm going to throw up again. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Just let me get through the curtain. Then another one happened, right?
Uh-huh.
I felt perfectly fine the rest of the night after that.
Damn.
So I told Zach, I said, I should have just had you spear my ass in the back, and I would have felt good. I thought, well, you spear shit at him, because he come back and, you all right, dude? You all right? I'm like, yeah. I said, it was just shit built up, I guess. But I thought for sure I was throwing up all over the place, not once but twice.
Oh, and man.
That happened to me before we were coming back from an OCW show, and P.G. Rodriguez was driving. Mm-hmm. And we were on the highway heading back toward my house. I was like, man, I don't feel so good. I roll down the window, get air on me, and I'm right behind the driver's seat. And it comes out. And Peachy's like leaning forward because he's afraid I'm going to puke on the back of his head.
Damn. That's great. That's great. With FGW, man, I love the product. I love what I see, and I'm really drawn in with the storylines and everything, like I mentioned, and just seeing you come to the ring, commentary, coming out there with your son Logan Blackheart and Harley Fairfax. It's great, and I can't wait for FGW to come back. I can't wait for shows to start, happening again for all independent wrestling promotions and getting their, doing their thing they do best, and especially with FGW. Can't wait for new episodes of FGW Shockwave, to come out on YouTube, man. I'm definitely waiting when that happens, man.
I think everybody's chomping at the bit to get back to doing what they do. Because
they are.
Like for me and many others, this is a release. This is how they cope. Mm-hmm. Is pro wrestling. I've told this story many times before. Like I said, we had a little downtime. Tom got sick, then Dusty took over, and then Dusty had an illness, and that was the only place I was working was Lima. I didn't work anyplace else. Mm-hmm. So there was no wrestling for several months. And Tom gets a hold of me, says, hey, we're starting back up. Here's the date, blah, blah. We need to meet, put together a card and all that. Tell my wife, I said, hey, we're starting back up, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, thank God, because you're kind of a dick.
During this time and stuff, man, my wife, she's wanting to kill me. She's like, some days I can't stand you. Some days I can't. And then most of the time I'd have my daughter running around here and watching Frozen 1, Frozen 2, Frozen 1, Frozen 2. And it's like, I want to watch FGW, sweetie. No, Frozen, Elsa. That's all she wants to watch, man. And she's out right now. My wife just left to go get her. So you'll probably hear her coming in here pretty soon. Loud, yeah. But one thing I want to ask you is, working at FGW, what's one of the your favorite things about working at FGW, working at Future Great Wrestling?
Just see it. Like I said, I sat in on so many of them training sessions with Logan, so a lot of them guys I see break in. I see what they do. My favorite thing in wrestling is seeing someone start and watch the progression.
Uh-huh.
I love seeing guys get it. Through, like Shea and Jacob Rose. Jacob Rose, I think he can go on to do a lot of stuff. Just he looks good in the ring. He's not above asking questions. He's professional in every manner. And like I said, there's so many young talent coming through there. Seeing him progress, seeing Jonah Wales progress, seeing guys like Jay West pull him aside and tell him this, that. Cody pulling him aside and telling him, hey, this, I saw you do this. Why don't you do this? It's kind of like the hospitals that are like a teaching hospital.
Yeah.
That's what it's like a teaching promotion. You've got the guys who've been around, done this, done that, and are not there just to put on their match and do their thing and be gone. They watch the other guys' stuff and try to educate them and try to make them learn from the mistakes that they've made through the years. I mean, and plus, Cody is the master of working with what he's got.
Right.
He has a limited budget. He can't afford to be bringing in all these super indie guys that he knows he's worked with over the years. He can't afford to, but he can bring in these young guys, and he can bring in a select few of guys who have been around that's close to the area that can help these guys and make it work. Like I said, you think the stuff that's on YouTube now, you should see from when we started. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff that isn't on film. The whole Code storyline was great. He basically redid the NWO storyline.
Nice.
But you got fans in that crowd. They had no idea how that all went down and all that. And the people are there, hook, line, sinker. Believed it. Ate it up. Did all that. Or Logan, my son Logan Blackheart, he was Space Invader before that.
Yeah.
And the masked character and how, I just watched a match the other day, and all the little kids losing their mind when Space Invader comes through the curb.
Right.
Because, he was that. He was that character. You had the dark guys, the brooding guys, you had the grizzled vets, you had the pretty face guys. And here's a superhero. He was the only superhero they had. So, that kind of stuff was, plus he was scrawny. He was probably the skinniest guy there. But he was the champ.
Yeah.
So he's that underdog champ that everybody wants to get. His first, originally that was a mid-card title for CWAI.
Okay.
And the story of that is Brian Levick, he was the major sponsor, biggest sponsor we had. He made it. We were doing a thing that Hamilton had, was a Superhero Saturday, little street festival. And we did some matches there, and Cody's like, Brian made this belt. We're going to crown a champion for it today. We're going to do like qualifying matches. The last match is going to be like a Royal Rumble type thing. Mm-hmm. And this is who, if you're going over in these matches, you're in this Royal Rumble team. And Hooks was like, oh, okay, cool. Who's going over? And he looks around and goes, Space Invader. And Logan's jaw about dropped. And, yeah.
Nice.
And when he won that, Cody told him, there was all these kids. It was outside. All these kids around the ring. There was a little walkway up against a building. There was an incline with a rail. All these kids were hanging on there, and he had Logan go through that whole crowd, go up through that railing, slap hands with all them little kids before and after that match.
Nice.
So then them kids come to the shows and stuff, and it's Space Invader. We like Space Invader. And his first time he defended at a CWAI show, he had defended against all the 5 Most Wanted.
Damn.
It was him versus the 5 Most Wanted. and he got his
Oh man, he got his ass kicked. Wow, that's crazy.
But had him pull off the win, and he got the hell out of there.
Well, I'm looking forward to see what he does. I mean, with his wrestling career. I mean, of course, he's underneath your wing, and nothing. There ain't nothing bad about that, man. There's nothing bad about that, and having Harley.
Well, he's taking a little break now. He says he doesn't know if he's coming back, but me and Cody feel that we'll at least get him on it. He likes doing this behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah,
he loves coming up with. He loves doing the bookings and the storylines.
Mm-hmm.
But much like Jay West, I told Jay West I enjoyed because what he said is it's the ultimatum I gave Logan.
Yeah.
When it came to training, and the reason. Originally, I wanted him to train. I wasn't going to let him train until he graduated high school. But then we had some stuff go down and just led us on that path. And I told him the only way I would approve it is he has to promise he's going to. I didn't care if it was college or tech school or trade school, whatever. For one, I didn't want him working in a factory like me. And two, if he was going to wrestling, like Jay said, backup plan.
Yes.
Had to have that. So yeah, he's halfway through his sophomore year at the Lima Ohio State branch and majoring in English. So he's taking a break he's concentrating on school and some other stuff. So we're going to try to at least sneak him here and there.
That's good. That's good. One thing I want to ask you, since you're a manager and you've managed a lot of talent, what advice would you have for someone that does want to become a manager and manage talent? What would you say to them?
Well, for one, like I said, it's a total fluke how I got into this. So you got to go get trained. There's everything I learned. I had to learn on the fly and by doing and shutting up and listening to others and watching others. Get trained. You'll have a better understanding of what's going on. Mm-hmm. Not just, like I said, everything self-taught. Total fluke and everything, but yeah, go get trained. Go get trained by somebody reputable, And when you're a manager, it's not about you. You are a tool. You are something, as I stated before. You're a tool to help get somebody over, whether that's the person that you're managing or their opponent, even. And cutting your promos, like Bobby Heenan said, you don't bury the guy's opponent in your promos, because then if he beats him, so what? You told us he was a piece of crap, that he didn't stand a chance.
Right.
If he does beat you, that hurts your client. You said he was a total piece of crap. Well, he beat your guy. So that you're there to help them get over. Same way with a match. If they have you do something, it should be something that helps get the match over, the storyline over, something to that point. It's not about you. People keep asking me, how come you don't have a River Blackheart shirt? Because I'm a manager. In the 80s, did Bobby Heenan have a shirt? No. I mean, Paul Heyman had I'm a Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah.
But he didn't have a shirt with his face on it and all that, and that was more a WWE thing, not him.
Right.
It's not about you. You're supposed to help them guys make. If you're getting into managing, know that it's not about you to make. You are there to help them make money. It aggravates me. So I've seen security guards have a security guard make his own shirt. You're a security guard. No one gives a shit about you. I've seen ring announcers. I've seen commentators, referees have like t-shirts or promo shots. And no, that is not your job there. You want to make money there, get something. I made shirts for, like, if I had a faction, I made old school Empire shirts. You want to make money? Do that. That's putting over the group. not you. Or get something else to sell there. Like my wife, when she taught preschool, kept getting the Oriental Trader magazine. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of crap you get for like birthday parties and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That little kids' toy cowboy hats. I think I spent $5, maybe $10 the most for like 20 of these hats.
Yeah.
Had Dusty Dillinger sign half of them. Sold them at the gimmick table for $5. Gave him $2 for every one of them that he signed. I made $3. I spent $10 for 22 hats. I got my money back. Stuff like that. You want to sell stuff. You want to make money. It needs to be not you. You need to be selling something that furthers what you're supposed to be helping.
Right. You hear my daughter. She just got home.
You better get that first one.
Yeah. But I definitely, I agree with everything you said there. You pulled up some really good valid points there, and I enjoy everything that I've see again with FGW, and I enjoy everything that's gone on with the videos and everything.
Daddy, Callie.
Hi. Blooper reel.
Me.
Yeah, Daddy's recording an episode right now.
I say she does here on out.
What's that?
I say she does the podcast from here on out.
But what the hell was I talking about? Oh, okay. All right. I enjoy everything that I've seen from FGW with you in it, and the footage I pulled up on YouTube. I've enjoyed all that right there, and talking and discussing today with you with what you've done in wrestling, and it's amazing, man. I've enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to see what Ripper Blackheart does next, man. I definitely am.
You and me both. I can't wait to see what I do next either.
But I did want to thank you for coming on. And where can people find more of Ripper Blackheart on social media at?
Well, I'm pretty lazy, so pretty much Facebook. I have the Ripper page. You can find that to get to my shoot page, which is, I'm pretty lazy. It has personal and wrestling stuff on it. Other than that, you want to see some of the stuff I do, YouTube on War Wrestling has a page, FGW has a page. Like I said, I'm sure there's OCW stuff out there. I know OCW or New Ohio Wrestling. I don't know so much about the YouTube stuff, but they do have all their, like, what they put out on DVD on the Fight TV app. If you look for it, I'm on some of that. And you could just hit me. Want to get a hold of me, you can hit me up through the Facebook, or any one of my associates will get the message to me, I'm sure. Nice.
And I want to thank you for coming on, and I do want to mention that coming up here in the weeks here, if you're listening and viewing this podcast here, that I will be featuring more of the great talent from Future Great Wrestling that you can check out, and you can check out more Everett Lee out here at the following Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcast. Head over to podcastcity.net, follow them on Facebook, Podcast City Network, send them a tweet over to @podcastcitynet, and over on their YouTube channel, Podcast City Network, and on Twitch, Podcast City Network. You want more Everett Lee? Everett Lee on Facebook, The Everett Lee Show, Twitter @TheEverettLeeShow, Instagram, Everett Lee Show. Audio portions of this podcast and previous release podcast, head over to YouTube, The Everett Lee Show, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Podbean, and iHeartRadio. I want to thank Ripper Blackheart for coming on here, and I'll see y'all again next week for another episode of The Everett Lee Show.